All right guys, got John here again. Today we're going to do a comprehensive overview of the arm drag. I haven't seen anything online that's going to go in as much detail as I'm planning to go into, and I'm probably going to miss some stuff. So I just want to introduce the arm drag, some of the basics, as well as setting it up. So there's a way to set it up more defensively. There's ways to set it up more offensively. Some of the finishes, and then some of my favorite setups, especially for jiu-jitsu, because one thing you're gonna see with jiu-jitsu people, they're not gonna engage you, they're gonna run away. So we have a way to kind of combat that, okay? So let's just talk about the basic arm drag. I'll get into the footwork a little bit later, but for now, typically I'm gonna try to control his wrist, and then I wanna go across his arm, okay? So cross arm. So control his arm on the same side you're holding, and then look, I go across here. And depending on, the variation of the arm drag, sometimes I'll bend his arm, sometimes I'm gonna keep it open, and you should be flexible, guys. Focus more on getting the position, and then what he does with his arm, we can look at later, okay? So control his wrist, go across arm. And now, one thing I see a lot of people do, they do arm drags, but they just pull blindly, and then they give up the underhook, or maybe the person senses what you're gonna do, and they kind of catch you off guard. You might even see this with the redrag. Sometimes you're kind of slow with your arm drag, and the person's able to redrag you. Okay, so I want to control his arm as much as possible. So when I control his wrist, I'm on his arm, and my body's pretty flexed here. So if he tried to move a little bit, okay, I can go. So whenever I feel any movement, I can go, or I can be more offensive and just pulling his arm across my body. Okay, so here, and look, I'm gonna pull his arm across, and now I'm just gonna take a step forward on the same side I had the initial wrist grip on, and I'm looking for his back, okay? So that's typical idealistic arm drag. Coming for the back, just a few details, guys. Make sure you get your chest contact with his arm, his body, because if I leave a lot of space, he can always pull that arm out. So I kind of wanna block his body, his arm, and I'm gonna turn the corner. So to turn the corner towards his back, I like to shuffle step, while at the same time, I call this like a sloth grip, I'm hooking his hip. Okay, and look how I pull his arm away from his body, and I'm leaning my weight onto him, okay? That's the ideal arm drag, because if he tries to move now, I'm dragging him forward while moving around his back. It's gonna be hard for him to catch up. Let's just look at that a few times, and then I'll move on. So here, I'm just gonna control his wrist. Again, I'm looking at the foundation of the arm drag, and then we'll add more details, okay? So control the wrist. There's different ways to control the wrist. I like to do like a handcuff grip. So I'm trying to get like my thumb connected to my index finger or my middle finger. And then the other fingers will adjust too, okay? From here, I like to start pulling his arm across my body immediately. I can go here and pull across, but I find that it works a lot better if I just start pulling here from the start, okay? So pull it across, or just grab for the elbow. Regardless, I gotta pull that arm across, and that opens up the path to his back. So here, taking a step forward, drag his arm down, and look, I get contact with my body against his body, and I'm heavy. Now I go to shuffle and grab his hip, his far hip. And now, keep turning towards me, John. He ain't catching up, because every time he wants to turn towards me, I'm dragging him forward, putting all his weight onto that near side leg. So that's the basic arm drag, guys. But the setup, that's the hard part, setting it up. So let's start more defensively and then move more offensively, okay? So defensively, a lot of times if you're going with like wrestlers or judoka, they're gonna try to grab you, push you, post off of you. And that's a great time to set up your arm drag. So I'm gonna have John post off my shoulder, okay? And just keep it. And it's gonna be different if he's pushing, but the mechanics are gonna be the same. So he's here posting on my shoulder. Now I'm gonna attack with the same side arm, okay? So he's posting with his right arm. Since we're mirrored, it's gonna be my left arm, okay? But it's on the same side. From here, we're gonna tap into our Karate Kid technique, and I'm gonna wax on, wax off. So I'm gonna bring my arm under and then around. And guys, I don't wanna go too high up on his arm where there's more muscle. I wanna go where it's thinner, where there's just bone, okay? So I circle my arm, and I'm gonna knock it off, okay? Bah. From here, I'm gonna re-grip, just like we did just now. Here, get my handcuff grip, and I can go for this grip. I just wanna make a note. This is where a lot of people get caught with that underhook, because they pull without getting the arm across their body. So, more advanced people, we can just go straight here and pull across. But if you're not at that point, you're a beginner, look, I'm gonna pull his arm across first, and then grab for that elbow grip. And strong, you guys hear that? Boom, that's how I know you got it right. From here, I'm pulling him down. At the same time, I step forward, chest onto his shoulder. Keep driving that elbow away from his knee, his body, okay? Now I step for the back as I reach for his hip, okay? And from here, you know, we'll look at how to, maybe some entries for finishing from the back. So again, he goes to post. I'm gonna wax on, wax off, sweep his arm around, control the elbow, step forward, body contact, shuffle, grab the hip, all right? From here, we're in perfect positioning to take the back. So that was more defensive. So sometimes when you go for this move, he goes to post and he moves his arm. Yeah, a lot of guys are very intuitive. They feel a little bit of danger and they kind of push back, okay? So one way I can get him to kind of commit more to that, whenever he touches me, you know, it could be even a collar tie too, or on my shoulder. Let's just do the shoulder. And you might see this when the guy's kind of testing you. One way I can really get him to commit his arm very strongly, when he goes to post off of my shoulder, we did this just previously, I'm gonna snap his hand down. So again, guys, don't go where there's a lot of muscle. I'm gonna go where it's just bone, okay? Lower on the wrist, and I'm gonna aggressively, not too aggressively, but aggressively snap that arm down, okay? So I'm here. One thing that might help, look how I shift my body back up just a little bit, okay? Okay, depending on your opponent, some guys are gonna be very defensive, like, oh, they're gonna run back. Some guys are gonna come at you. They're gonna, rah. Okay? So I'm here, he posts. You know, I wanna go for this, but he's just intuitively pulling that arm away from me. So I'm gonna make him commit a lot more. So even if he barely grabs it, I can snap it down, or if he holds my shoulder, I can snap it down. And then when he goes back, I'm ready to pummel inside. Again, low on the wrist, guys. Regrip around the wrist. Grab the elbow, strong, step, chest control, and then shuffle to the back. So we're getting more into the setup. I'm getting more offensive. So before I was more defensive, waiting for the guy to grab me. Now I'm being more offensive. I could also do this with a collar tie. He's got a collar tie. I can snap it down. When he goes to regrip again, okay, you know, I really like arm drags because it's all about technique and timing. It's not about shooting your knee to the mat. It's not about like how tough you are, but it's just setup. If you set the person up properly, you know, guys like Marcelo Garcia have shown that the arm drag's super effective against wrestlers. There's a lot of wrestlers, they don't put time into the arm drag. It's not very common for them. So it's one way a jiu-jitsu person could keep up with like wrestlers and judokas, okay? Again, he goes to post, or you know, maybe he's just kind of lightly, maybe he's not really committing, like he's just like, I don't know. So when he goes, I just snap it down, get him to go back again, wax on, wax off, control the wrist, elbow, pull and step. That's one thing that gets a lot of people. They just pull or they just step. I need to do both at the same time. So I'm kind of loading my body up and then I spring into action, okay? That was more defensive or more offensive. I can also do all these moves off of like collar ties and bicep ties. So I'm just gonna demonstrate these really quick with minimal instruction. So being more offensive, I can go for my collar tie and a wrist control and control the guy here. And now I can just go straight into the arm drag, especially if I feel he's trying to posture up out of this. Okay, control the collar tie, control the wrist. He starts posturing up. Boom, you can hit the guy all day. I can also do the same thing off a bicep tie. Bicep tie in the wrist here. And the same thing, if I pull him down, I can go into here, or if he postures very hard. Man, there's a million different arm drags, guys. I'll try to cover as many as I can without being too long. You know, when you're going with guys that do jiu-jitsu particularly, they're not gonna try to tie up with you. They're not gonna try to post off on you. So you're gonna have to be more offensive. So the collar tie arm drag is gonna be pretty good. Bicep tie arm drag is gonna be really good. One thing I really like to do when I'm going against jiu-jitsu guys, I like to trap the fingers. You'll see that a lot with jiu-jitsu grapplers. They're not gonna tie up with you. But if I go with my hands out, a lot of times they're gonna seek to interlace the fingers here. This is a great way to, if you're fighting someone and he's moving around a little bit, John, like he's just like, you know, he's just running away. I can't, you know, a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, they're not gonna give you like a real reaction. So, you know, in wrestling, they have setups, in judo, they have setups. In jiu-jitsu, they're just gonna run away from you. So this is a great way to kind of get the guy to stay there. So I'm here, I'm just gonna present my fingers, and a lot of times he's just gonna meet my hands. From here, man, perfect time to go for arm drags because he's connected to me, right guys? From here, I'm gonna pick one arm, I'm gonna free one hand. With this part, depending on how hard he's holding my hands, he might be squeezing it. So I'm gonna make sure I change my level pretty low, and I'm gonna take my hand out, okay? So shake, 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 aggressively to get that hand free while maintaining the other arm interlaced, okay? From here, I'm gonna pull his palm towards my body, and now I go a cross grip, and to get my hands free, I'm gonna pull his elbow in towards my body or to the side, and I'm gonna pull my fingers out. So imagine if you're gonna do like a wrist lock, it's the same kind of motion. We gotta do that in fundamentals class, wrist lock. But so I'm here, I have the interlaced finger, or let's go here. I shake my hand out, shake, 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 boom. Keep this hand, and look, I turn it a little bit towards my body. So his wrist, I'm kind of flipping his hand, and I wanna turn that arm towards the side, okay? From here, I regrip on the elbow, and I'm just gonna almost do like a wrist lock, pushing my hand forward. Boom. While I'm doing this, guys, remember to do your footwork. Step forward, pull, shoulder, or contact with his shoulder, and then shuffle as I reach for his back. So the footwork's gonna be the same when we're going for the back attack. So one more time with this, he's moving around. I just can't get him to stay. He's just, you know, it doesn't matter how aggressively I'm collar tying, like we did before in a few videos, pushing him, he's not giving anything. So I'm just gonna present my fingers. Here, he goes to interlace. I'm gonna free one hand, shake, 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 and now, boom, I go. Those are some of the basic arm drag setups. You know, I can do it just straight, just aggressive from the beginning. He can post off of me, Mr. Miyagi style, wax on, wax off. He can post, but not commit. I can slap it down, boom, and then come back in, boom. I can do it off a collar tie, control the wrist, switch, boom. I can do it off bicep tie, bicep and wrist. Here, boom. It's one of those moves you just gotta go for. Don't wait, just try. The worst thing that can happen, well, a lot of bad things can happen, but guys, just try it, okay? So now let's look at some of the finishes. I just did like a back take from here, just some basics just for you guys. You're gonna look to do mat returns. So a mat return means I get him either to his knees or back to his back, okay? You know, there's different ways to do these takedowns. One basic one that I like, you're gonna see a lot with a lot of jiu-jitsu people. We're here. I'm gonna make sure I have my arms controlled pretty tightly, okay guys? So never leave your elbows out. I'm gonna keep my elbows pinching his hips, just there. And then from here, all I'm gonna do is pick one side, and I'm gonna place my hook across his body, okay? So you guys see I'm on one side of his body, could be the other side. Doesn't really matter. I just prefer my right side. I'm on my right side, his right side. I bring my right leg across, and I'm just gonna hook his leg. I'm shorter, so I go in the crook of the knee. Tall guys, you can go lower, but I'm trying to go kind of over this leg and hook the far leg, okay? From here, especially if he's postured up a lot, you know, I wanna make myself tall, and all I'm gonna do is drive him to the mat. So watch my back leg. I'm just gonna drive him. From here, before he can roll out, my knee's gonna catch his hip, keep my body lock, and I'm just gonna push him down with my knee and my gripping. Throw the hook in, and then now I can look for my seatbelt grip. We've also done before some body triangle. I'm surprised I got that body triangle on you.
I'm losing weight.
Yeah, I've been stretching too. So you're gonna see that a lot with jiu-jitsu guys. You see it almost every tournament. I see Gordon Ryan do it, and man, he's so big, like, the guys just topple over. When you're smaller, you gotta really control the position and use a lot of technique to make sure you drive the guy over his knee. Guys, do not take the guy back. A lot of bad things can happen. So one more time, it doesn't matter which arm drag you're doing, but once I go for his back, I'm letting go of the elbow to a body lock. Here, I'm on his right side of his body, so I go with my right leg in the crook of his knee, and I wanna get my chest higher up on his back, because now if he were to turn your arm out, he can do that kind of stuff. So I need to make sure I'm higher than his shoulder, and then look, I drive him down. Catch his hip with my knee, push him down, hook, body triangle, and then we can go to the seatbelt. I do want to touch on this topic real fast. When I do that arm drag, so guys, I'm switching, as soon as I go for his back, I'm switching to an under his arm, okay? So as I'm going for his back, I'm switching under his arm. So that's why it was so important that I opened up his arm here. And I do that for a number of reasons. One reason is because if I just go over his arm, you know, if you do like Greco-Roman wrestling, like a lot of upper body throws, we can do trips back and stuff like that. But a lot of times, if the guy were to lean forward, yeah, put your hand on the floor. So a lot of times you might want to switch to a seatbelt grip, but because he's standing, you know, maybe I can take him down, but also look at my shoulder, my arm, see here? If I go for his back, there's nothing to stop me from falling off. So, you know, you can watch all the really good guys, they're able to flip people off of their back. So that's why I prefer that body lock. If he were to do the same kind of situation, leaning forward, notice how my arm is under his shoulder. It's gonna give me a little bit more leverage to hold on versus if I had that seatbelt grip here and he's up, you know, I might go for a ride. That's probably my favorite way to score off the arm drag, go for the back. Let's look at some other variations too. I can also go for, we call this like the Marcelo Garcia variation. So it's actually two parts. With Marcelo, he likes to hold the hand. I was holding here, I was holding the wrist, and here, Marcelo, he likes to do this. So make a crab claw. I'm gonna go right with my palm down, grabbing his arm here, and I pull his hand up. Try to move your hand a little bit. So I can kind of hold it a little bit. From here, I can go for the arm drag pretty easily. So that's one thing Marcelo does really well. And also, you know, I can do this, or with the regular gripping. Marcelo, he's very good at dropping his leg down between his opponent's leg, and he switches to like a single or a back take. So I'm just gonna demonstrate a little bit. So I'm going for my arm drag, and I'll do this a lot of times if the guy has long arms, and I know like, man, I'm not gonna reach his back. Switch your stance. Okay. So I'm here, and instead of stepping with that same side leg as his arm, I'm gonna switch my legs like a baseball slide, and I'm gonna sit to my hip. So I'm going opposite leg, going between his leg, off the arm drag. So I'm here, I'm gonna sit and pull him towards me. Okay. From here, if I can get him to post his arm, that's perfect. I can either keep on the single leg. Here, if I can get him to post, I'm gonna keep my leg behind my body, head into his ribs, grab his knee, and now I can either keep this grip and push off his tricep. And now I'm in a single leg. You guys remember my previous video with the RNC single, back step pivot. That's also a good option. When I do this, sometimes I can't get his arm down, that's fine. So I just post my hand, and then same moveset, keep the leg, sit up into the ribs. Here, I can go for the single. I can also switch to the back, okay? So that's what Marcelo's very well known for. He just sits and he goes for the single. He's also good at taking the back. He's got a really good video from one of his old ADCCs where he just jumps on the back from the arm drag. A good variation off this is from Lucas Lepre. He does the same kind of arm drag, except instead of going straight down the middle, he goes and chips the far leg. So that one's pretty gnarly. He's hit me with that a few times. So I'm here, I go to sit. And man, sometimes you just like belly down, hit your head. Ugh. So that's a good variation too. If you're going against someone tough, you know, we're moving here. He just trips the leg, so he gets the sweep. And then, you know, he's in a good passing position, which is where, if you're Lucas Lepre, that's where you want to be. You want to
smash, man, yeah.
Let's look at one more variation. This one is from Tedade. Funny enough, they've all trained together and competed against each other. So with Tedade, he does, we call it the safada. It's like a kochigari for my judo people out there. But for no gi, you don't have a gi and no gi, right? So we have to do modified. So I'm going for the arm drag here, but this time he goes to pull his arm. Okay, sometimes it's gonna happen. Again, some guys are very intuitive. They start to pull that arm very quick. So we can't hold on to it, okay? So I'm going for my arm drag here. He goes to pull, and look now, like we did earlier, sliding the leg in the middle, I'm gonna go across and trap his near side leg, okay? So I'm here. So as he goes to pull, I'm gonna step into his near side leg, and the hand that's on his elbow, I'm gonna switch to his waist. And now I'm just gonna drop my ankle behind his leg. So I'm kind of folding it behind his leg. You know, I can do it standing, but for the traditional safada, I reap my leg down. Okay, and as you're falling, guys, I'm gonna go into half guard, the hand that's on his waist. You know, I've shown moves like this before. They're like, oh, how do you you're gonna get your back taken. Almost, but look, I'm gonna switch to an underhook as soon as I fall, okay? So it does take some coordination. As soon as we go, you're kind of switching to the hip, okay? And then you should land into like this half guard position. Let's look at that a few times. That one always confuses people. All the students, they're just like, oh, how do I do this? Let's do it a few times. Here, you know, sometimes I'll stay here or I'll just shoot it. And make sure you trap that leg, white belts. All my white belts guys out there, they're gonna, Alex showed me this. Let me do it one more time.
Too much?
Yeah. Okay. So that's the safada. Also, guys, I can also set up my singles and doubles off of the arm drag, especially when he goes to pull his arm. Here, run the pipe. I can also set up double legs. Let's look at those two again. There. Okay. That's pretty much a comprehensive view of the arm drag. It's a very simple move. It's not like a collar sleeve guard or something like that. It's just all about going for it, guys. Whenever you see the guy, you can control his wrist, I can go for it. Anytime he's posting off of me, I can go for it. Anytime we have interlaced hands, I can go for it. Or I could be, you know, I can be more offensive in trapping his arms, setting it up, okay? And just to talk about his arm placement a little bit, of course I can keep his arm straight. Sometimes I'll even keep it a little bit bent. So I'll bend it a little bit. Okay, that way I can just shoot it right to my armpit, my side of my body. Okay, but if you can get to the back, man, you know, jiu-jitsu, man, take the back. From here, mat returns. We just did a very basic one, crossing the knee, hooking the far leg, and then taking the guy down slowly. Okay, the arm drag's very simple, but guys, you can do this even from on bottom. Into my guard. Anytime the guy's kind of sitting here, he's not really doing anything, look. Like he's already attacking his back. I think it's just one of those moves, you just try to go for it, guys. For me, it's the same thing as, you know, when I'm testing some guy, he could be on the ground or stand up or standing. I should be looking to move the guy around, see what he's got going on. He's not moving, boom. So if you like, you don't know about, you're not really good at shooting, or, you know, maybe you're just starting out, arm drag is a very good move. Most people, they don't study the arm drag and they're not prepared for arm drags. Most places I've trained at, you do an arm drag and they're just like, oh man. So I think it's a great way to kind of hack this system. I don't have to shoot my leg really. I can take the back off a grip. And also self-defense wise, I have a lot of bouncer friends. A lot of times that's how they control people. You know, at the bar, the guy's kind of drunk and then they just like, you can just, man, right to the back. So I think it's a great topic. I've been trying to utilize it more, especially on the bottom. Whenever I see the guy posting off me or just not really being active, guys, stay offensive. I feel like I say that a lot. Stay offensive, stay on the offense. You can win being defensive. You know, some people have more of a flowing game, but sometimes you go against someone good and man, they're just too good. Like you can't flow out of, you're not gonna flow your way out of their game. You know, sometimes you just gotta be first, man. You gotta be first. Think about striking, like, you know, sometimes it's just like I hit him 1 millisecond before he hit me, right? That could make the whole difference, guys. Takedowns, passes. Again, arm drag, man, very underestimated, underutilized moveset. So hope you guys enjoy this one. Thank you, John. Thank you, Lucas. All right, guys, until next time, peace, 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 peace. We out.